Hey, welcome back. All right, Taurians, let's take a quick peek here. We're going to take a look at kind of like what the overall message of Celtic Cross / Tree of Life energy is. So the central topic here is a Seven of Wands, but this kind of looks heroic. Seven of Wands is how we overcome struggles. And I feel like Taurus goes, well, if I'm, trying to contemplate what to do, how to move through something, I try one thing and see if it works. If not, then I move on to my next plan and see if that works. And then the next and the next. And it's almost like I'm picturing somebody who has like a bunch of keys and they keep trying. Okay, that's not the one. I'll try the next one. Nope, that's not the one. Okay, I'll try the next one. And it's like this Taurus doesn't get stressed out. They're like, oh, I'll get through this. Whatever the obstacle is, I'll find the answer. Page of Cups. Has Taurus been kissing frogs lately, looking for the prince? Because I think Taurus is about to get lucky. I feel like Taurus is about to meet. I always say this with this card, but this divine masculine, I don't know if Taurus is going to meet somebody like at a river or a lake or a pool or a hot tub or whatever. And it's like somebody who pops up out of the water and it's like, oh, hello. How did you surface in my life? But this is my Lord of the Rings card. This is like a sexy elf card. Okay. This does look like somebody comes up out of the water. This person could have long black hair. They could be somebody that, again, they could be like sopping wet when Taurus first meets them. It could be that Taurus is like, oh, I've been, looking to meet different people. I'm open to however that happens. But there is something about like, I've been kissing toads, but knowing somebody was going to turn into an actual prince. Is Taurus about to meet somebody wonderful? Let's see. What cross is this? Hang on. We have got the Seven of Pentacles. Again, all I see here is, it's not that Seven of Pentacles is necessarily a card of choice, but in this deck it is. We see somebody standing here saying, I've learned enough in my life to realize that if we want something in life to change, I've built my foundation, right? I've spent a lot of time investing in me and I've learned some things. And I know that in order to like have the next step in my life, I have to do something a little bit different. This is a time to harvest from the lessons, harvest all the opportunities that Taurus has maybe created. Taurus stands here knowing full well I could pick any one of these timelines, any one of these cards. I keep getting this idea that we have a Taurus who's about to have some greater success. Now, let's see what's underneath all this, because I'm wondering if part of the reason that Taurus could have the success is because they, when we actively learn things. And so far, I keep seeing that Taurus has been learning things. They're not just randomly trying any old thing carelessly. I feel like this is a Taurus who says, well, I try this key. When it doesn't work, I put it aside. I try the next one. Or when I date somebody and I discover a little bit about my likes and dislikes, I factor that in. And the next person I try meeting, I'm like, okay, what I do know now about myself is like, I really enjoy someone I can have lengthy conversations with. I really value that. So I do want somebody who cares to talk to me about stuff. Or maybe Taurus is like, I like to be, busy going, doing. I want to go out and have experiences. I want to have somebody to go, to concerts with that are so loud we can't talk, but we dance around together. Whatever Taurus's preference is. What's underneath all of this driving it, we actually have King of Wands, and then we have got that Ace of Cups sideways. I almost feel like Taurus says, look, I know how to love me. That's what I've been doing. I've been learning how to love me with that Seven of Pentacles, which is why I'm now ready to share my cup of love with somebody else. Here's the thing. I want somebody who can share that with me too. I want that. I want somebody who's whole and has extra to give. I want someone to give me their overflow. They don't need to give me all of their attention. I'm whole on my own. I'm not clamoring for extra attention. I want somebody who's in the same boat as me. We have so much that we've already done in our own lives for ourselves. We're so comfortable in our own skin that now we have this extra energy that we could share with somebody else. Extra love, more love. So I really think that Taurus is just in this space where it kind of feels like they're in the ideal energy to be able to get into a love story with someone, because they're like, look, I'm not looking for somebody to complete me. I did that on my own, but I've got some excess that I could share. Okay, what's the recent past? Recent past was a Five of Swords. There was some big, huge conflict. There was something unpleasant, uncomfortable. There was arguing. There was fighting. There was maybe even ending things in an ice cold manner. This could be Taurus, um, like walked away from somebody that was high drama. This could have been ending a relationship on a terrible note. Maybe that's what Taurus has spent some time to digest and think about. Do I really want somebody who handles conflict like this? Or do I really want to be in a relationship where when we have conflict, it's mean? I don't think so. Because Taurus knows a thing or two about that. And the fact that what they're looking for is somebody really warm hearted, somebody who's not going to instantly turn to like using words as weapons. I don't think that the King of Wands that Taurus is interested in meeting is going to be what they knew in their past. That explains a lot. I feel like this is a Taurus who's been single for a while and then has begun to date with a very optimistic outlook. They don't immediately go, oh, somebody has to either be perfect for me or they're crap and they're a villain. I feel like Taurus is like, you're going to kiss some toads, but it'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be an experience. Not everybody's going to be the right person, but I won't meet the right person unless I learn what I want. What do I think is right for me? Let me practice this. Let me meet different people. This is going to be fun. This is going to be cool. This is going to be awesome. And I know kind of what I'm looking for. I feel like this Taurus has such a lovely energy. What's the higher self say? What does Taurus's higher self have to say? We have got the Four of Pentacles in the reverse. The higher self says, in order to let somebody in, we got to let the shields down, you know? I always think of, I'm a big sci-fi fan, so that's my first love. And strangely, martial arts films. Those are my two favorite genres. But I always think of my heartthrob, my first heartthrob, Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard of the Starship Enterprise, shields down. You know, we have to let something, let some opportunity in, right? We can't sit there and say, well, I want love, but I'll be damned if I'm going to make it easy for them to get to know me. This is Taurus saying, I'm going to be myself and let anybody that I date get to know a little bit about me, be open with the way I communicate, be receptive to who they are, let somebody tell me who they are, you know, actively listen and communicate and, you know, talk back and forth. But I'm going to be open so that I can learn who somebody is and open to what do they bring to the table? What are those traits that I could see value in that might complement me, or just be open to why something doesn't complement me. But I feel like that open-hearted energy, that ability to say, I'm not going to say no to somebody because of assumptions that, oh, I bet I know that they wouldn't be good for me, or I bet I know how that person would behave. This Taurus, their higher self says, be open to finding either a partnership in an unlikely place or be open to meeting somebody who is not all who you would expect to be attracted to. What's in the upcoming future for this Taurus? Six of Cups, a soulmate. Look, not everything is all about romance. It just happens to be that this story, this particular branch of Taurus's tree of life is about relationship. And it's about like the joyful quality, not stressful, but the joyful quality of saying, you know what? I've grown a lot in the realm of romance. I know what I'm looking for now. I'm looking for somebody I can have long conversations with into the night. I'm looking for somebody who maybe has a whimsical, playful energy. I want somebody who will dress up with me in a couple's costume on Halloween. You know, I'll be the peanut butter jar and they'll be the jelly jar. Or, you know, in this case, they're both dressed up like little fairies with fairy wings. Like, come on, babe, let's go to a Renaissance fair and dress up in our, you know, best costumes. And, you know, I'll help you, whatever, paint your face and you help me, you know, put on my striped leggings. And, you know, it feels like I want to have fun with a lover. I want to have fun with a partnership. I want somebody that I can also talk to at a high level, intellectual level, but also crack jokes. I don't think that this Taurus is looking for any more of what they had in the past. I don't know if Taurus dealt with a Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius in the past, but it could have been somebody who was quite cold. Now Taurus wants somebody so warm. They had ice, now they want fire. They want somebody with a beautiful open heart. They want somebody who's got an overflow of love. And I do think Taurus might want somebody who's generous. I feel like Taurus knows that. Okay, let me backtrack for just a second because this is coming into my head right now. So the whole bring down your shields thing, the Starship Enterprise, one of the reasons I really liked the character of Captain Jean-Luc Picard is, he's always like an ambassador for, all the different planets and all the different, beings that lived across the galaxy. And it was always like, treat every being like you need to understand them, not think of them as enemies. And I always loved that concept. I think it was a really great concept to be exposed to, as a kid also. And I feel like that's so true. Treat every person, everyone that you haven't met yet, or everyone you're just getting to know, not with this instant hostility, be like, my walls are up, you're going to have to prove to me why I should let them down, but rather let me understand you first and then see where our common ground is, because we may not have much in common, but we're all living beings. So there we share something right there. There will always be something that we can find that we share. And I think Taurus is just in this mindset where I'm going to be really broad-minded and really open, and at the same time discerning, because I'm looking for a partner, I'm looking for a soulmate, but I'm open to the fact that a soulmate could come from a very different walk of life from me, and yet we could laugh at the same jokes, enjoy each other's company for all the same reasons, inspire each other in different ways. But where Taurus meets or finds this person could be not where Taurus would have expected. Let me get another card on that, because all of this is Taurus's upcoming future. Taurus is going to meet somebody who I think is fun, loving, warm. Ace of Swords. We got that dragonfly, and we have, I don't know if somebody like has a lot of crystals or they has amethyst crystal. I'm almost picturing somebody who wears a lot of crystals. Maybe Taurus is like, oh, I didn't think I'd be attracted to somebody who has like, 7 rings of natural gemstones on, or I don't know. I'm picturing somebody who's got like a very different style to them. Somebody who's very truthful, who's very honest, but they might also be somebody who like takes a real like a spiritual practice could be very serious to them. It could be something where they really mean it. Like they get into, doing their ohms, or, they seek out some kind of healing, some kind of energy work to help heal. And it just feels like they're very direct. They're very precise. This could be someone who's like a natural healer. Whomever this is that Taurus resonates so well with could have a lot of the same. I keep picturing like an acupuncturist, a massage therapist, somebody that could be quite a gentle soul and like be super unafraid of crying. They could be somebody who's like really big on like, let the catharsis happen. They could be somebody who's just very natural, very open to like exploring the full range of emotions, not running from it, instead leaning right into it. They come across as like brave and raw. It's perfect for what a King of Wands would be. That's amazing. So the outcome here for Taurus, because this is looking fantastic. This looks like we have a Taurus who's headed down the road of meeting someone who's quite wonderful. It's funny because we have the 9 of Pentacles also. The outcome here for Taurus is, even when Taurus meets this person, this soulmate, it does not make Taurus part of a relationship blob where they're like, okay, now I'm just a part of this other person's life and I don't have my own Taurus energy to myself anymore. This is where Taurus feels more stable, more secure, has still time for themselves and their own endeavors because they're being supported by a partner. This is somebody who has a lot of personal achievement and personal power. We've got this Ace of Swords in the reverse. I feel like because that Ace of Swords has to do with this person that I think Taurus is going to match nicely with that 6 of Cups. It almost feels like Taurus is going to be surprised, where it's like, I didn't know that I needed somebody who was that open and supportive and encourages me to cry and let it out. I never dreamed, I didn't know that I needed that to further feeling comfortable and accepted and loved. I had no idea. This is Taurus saying, I didn't know that truth, that I would feel better by being with a person who kind of like gives me permission to have a good cry. I'm picturing like somebody who's like, oh, Taurus, come on, let's go into the forest. Let's do some primal screams. You never done that before? Oh, it's amazing. Like I could so picture some partner of Taurus's just being like, oh no, get super comfortable. No, you got to come from the gut. Got to scream loud. I don't know why. I just feel like this could be Taurus is like, I had no idea that somebody could encourage me to like be more open and free, and that would actually give me the greatest sense of self-worth and stability. It feels like Taurus is going to be so transparent. They're not going to have to hide anything, be prim and proper, be subdued, be anything with this partner. 5 of Pentacles. Taurus is like really going to be able to recognize, I had no idea that I never felt like I was in a partnership until I meet this person. I never felt like somebody really saw the real me. I think Taurus has had partnerships that were still always kind of like, oh, don't say this, don't say that. They might get mad at me. If Taurus had to walk on eggshells, I think they're only going to be realizing now that they've made these changes in their life, wow, I did need to meet somebody who encourages me to be the real me, because this is super stable, and only just now saying, I didn't know how cold, how suppressed I had been for so long. This is wonderful. I love the fact that we have a partnership coming into Taurus's world that's going to encourage him so much to be expressive and warm and loving and free. And it's all about healing, and it's about, you know, choosing a better life. Can we see anything else about that person who seems to be coming in for Taurus? We've got a 10 of Cups in the reverse. They may have been the black sheep of their family. They may be somebody who didn't have a whole lot of happiness in their own life. Maybe that's why they learned about, you know, healing things. Maybe that's why they gravitate toward amethyst crystal. They're raising their vibration. Maybe that's why they're like, you got to cry it out. You got to let yourself feel the sorrow, and then you got to go and like fill your cup. Because I think that they know a lot about sorrow and grief, and they learned how to look at it from a different perspective. Here's the way I would look at this. Sometimes I'll say it this way: if we need to make a recipe and we got to cook something, the first thing we got to do is check and see, what do we have and what do we not have? And we don't get sad and cry when we go, oh man, I want to make this food, but there's 7 items I need to go buy at the grocery store. We don't get sad and cry, oh my God, I don't have those 7 items. No, matter of fact, we go, okay, that's what I need to go buy. Now I go out and I get it. Same thing. Somebody who's known a lot of grief, a lot of sorrow, it's like he looked at it as, hey, I was clear on what things didn't make me happy. I was clear on what I was missing. Maybe I was missing the feeling of family. Maybe I was missing out. Maybe I was an orphan. Maybe I didn't have support around me. So what I did is I looked at that from a different perspective. The Hangman could be different perspective. It can also be delays. But I feel like this person will have this unique idea that they said, what I did is I saw what I didn't have in my life, what I had missed out on, and I've been seeking, going to the grocery store and buying those items ever since. I've been seeking a better life. Where I don't have healing, I focus on, okay, that's what I need to heal then. Where I didn't have love and support, I focus on, you know, creating love in my life, being loving. I think this is just the right person for Taurus. In this storyline, for this fictional Taurus, this is exactly the energy that I think would complement them so, so, so well. Somebody so positive, but down to earth, and somebody who knows a thing or two about loss, but who learned how not to dwell in it, but instead to use it as their shopping list of what they wanted to go get in their life. Very happy person, and very, very much a beautiful matchup with our Taurus. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing.